the heart of a small, decaying town, there stood an abandoned hospital, known to the locals as Wraithhaven. Its dark history and chilling past made it a place few dared to enter, even during daylight. It was a stark reminder of a time when the town thrived, but now it stood as a crumbling testament to its own demise. Legend had it that Wraithhaven Hospital was once a state-of-the-art medical facility, but it had fallen into disrepair and disrepute. Many stories circulated about the hospital's sinister past, and it was said that the place was cursed. The hospital had been abandoned for decades, yet there were tales of strange occurrences inside its dilapidated halls. Some claimed to have heard whispers in the dead of night, while others swore they'd seen shadowy figures moving about in the windows. A group of daring teenagers, skeptical of the legends but driven by a morbid curiosity, decided to explore the hospital one fateful night. Armed with flashlights, they made their way into the decaying building, its walls covered in peeling paint and littered with broken glass. As they ventured deeper, a sense of foreboding weighed upon them. They entered a ward filled with rusted beds and abandoned medical equipment. Suddenly, one of the teens felt a cold hand on their shoulder, and they turned to find no one there. Panic spread through the group, and they decided to leave, but the exit doors slammed shut behind them. The once faint whispers grew louder, and the flickering lights revealed fleeting glimpses of ghostly apparitions in old-fashioned hospital gowns. The teenagers were trapped, their cries echoing through the hospital's haunted corridors. They had become part of the hospital's dark history, never to leave its cursed confines. To this day, the legend of Wraithhaven Hospital endures, serving as a chilling reminder to those who dare to explore the unknown. The abandoned hospital remains untouched, a place where the past refuses to rest and where the spirits of the past continue to haunt anyone who crosses its threshold. Years passed, and the legend of Wraithhaven Hospital continued to grow. Local residents avoided the area, like the plague, and stories of strange occurrences persisted. Brave souls who ventured too close claimed to have heard eerie cries and witnessed unexplained phenomena. One day, a group of paranormal investigators arrived in the town, drawn by the hospital's chilling reputation. They were determined to unravel the mysteries of Wraithhaven once and for all. Armed with cameras, recording equipment, and other ghost hunting tools, they made their way into the decrepit building. The investigators explored the same corridors that the ill-fated teenagers had traversed years ago. As they delved deeper into the hospital's darkness, they captured chilling EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recordings, whispers, cries for help, and faint pleas for release. The ghostly figures once glimpsed by the teenagers reappeared in their footage, their ethereal presence undeniable. In one room, they uncovered an old, dusty journal that had belonged to a nurse who had worked at Wraithhaven in the early 1900s. Her diary entries spoke of mysterious deaths, unexplained illnesses, and strange occurrences within the hospital. It seemed that Wraithhaven's dark history extended far beyond their worst fears. The investigators, undeterred by the supernatural presence, continued their exploration. They soon stumbled upon a hidden room deep within the hospital, where they found an array of medical instruments, some stained with what appeared to be dried blood. This room bore a sinister atmosphere that sent shivers down their spines. As they approached the room's center, they suddenly felt a malevolent presence closing in on them. The temperature plummeted, and their equipment malfunctioned. Desperate to escape, they rushed back through the maze-like corridors, But the hospital seemed to have other plans. The exit doors slammed shut just as they had for the teenagers many years before. Trapped within the heart of Wraithhaven, the investigators now understood the true nature of the hospital's curse. The spirits that had suffered and perished within its walls were determined to hold on to the living, ensnaring anyone who dared to seek answers to its grim mysteries. Their cameras captured chilling images of the hospital's gruesome history as the ghosts of former patients and staff surrounded them, reaching out with spectral hands. The investigators never escaped Wraithhaven, their fate sealed by their relentless pursuit of the truth. Wraithhaven Hospital remained a haunting enigma, a place where the past and present merged, where the living and the dead were forever intertwined. Those who ventured too close to the forsaken building could still hear the mournful cries and tortured whispers that echoed through the night, a warning to all who dared to enter the cursed, abandoned hospital. The legend of Wraithhaven Hospital persisted, becoming a dark and ominous part of the town's lore. Residents and visitors were warned to stay away, and the hospital became an eerie backdrop for urban legends and tales of the supernatural. Over time, the once thriving town began to wither further, as if the malevolent energy of the abandoned hospital had spread like a virus. People whispered about inexplicable misfortunes, illnesses, and tragedies befalling those who ventured too close to Wraithhaven's grounds. It seemed the curse extended beyond the confines of the decaying building. Meanwhile, the abandoned hospital's malevolence grew stronger, and it expanded its reach. Reports of ghostly apparitions were no longer confined to the hospital's walls. The specters of former patients and staff wandered the town's deserted streets at night, casting an eerie pall over the entire community. The town's dwindling population lived in fear, locked indoors after dark, and the once bustling streets were now empty and silent. The very essence of the town had been drained, leaving behind a haunting emptiness. Local authorities, at a loss for how to deal with the growing hysteria, tried to block off access to Wraithhaven Hospital entirely, but the malevolent influence of the place seemed to defy containment. Then, one stormy night, a group of paranormal enthusiasts, drawn by the town's newfound infamy, decided to break the barriers and explore the hospital. They were well prepared, having researched the legends and ghostly encounters associated with the place. As they stepped onto the hospital's forsaken grounds, they felt an oppressive, unnatural chill in the air. The wind howled, and the clouds above swirled ominously. The investigators entered the hospital, their flashlights cutting through the thick darkness. The further they ventured, the more unsettling the atmosphere became. Whispering voices echoed around them, and they could feel unseen eyes watching their every move. The apparitions, once trapped within the hospital, had now become free to roam the town, and their presence was stronger and more malevolent than ever. The investigators discovered a hidden basement beneath the hospital where the most horrifying secrets lay. In the dim light, they found a network of tunnels that extended far beneath the town, seemingly designed to transport patients in secret. As they explored the tunnels, they came across a chamber filled with old medical records that detailed horrific experiments and unethical treatments conducted in the hospital's dark past. Their presence disturbed the spirits that lurked in the tunnels, and the investigators soon found themselves in a battle for their souls. As they attempted to escape the tunnels, they encountered the vengeful ghosts of those who had suffered within Wraithhaven's walls. their ghastly figures clawing at the investigators, desperate to claim their own release. The investigators fought to reach the surface, battling the malevolent forces that sought to bind them to the hospital's cursed history. Just as they reached the exit, the hospital's walls seemed to convulse, shaking as if trying to hold them captive. The investigators barely managed to escape the collapsing building. The once cursed town was finally free from the grasp of Wraithhaven Hospital, but its scars ran deep. The paranormal investigators had unwittingly unleashed the lingering malevolence that had plagued the town for decades, and now they carried a piece of the hospital's dark history with them. As the investigators fled the town, they knew that they had unleashed a new wave of horror, spreading the curse of Wraithhaven to wherever they went. The town, once filled with life and vitality, remained a shadow of its former self, its streets forever haunted by the memories of the past and the malevolent spirits that now roamed free. In their desperate escape from Wraithhaven Hospital and the malevolent spirits that pursued them, the investigators found themselves racing through the dark, rain-soaked streets of the cursed town. The ghosts, driven by an insatiable thirst for vengeance, closed in, their ghostly figures illuminated by the flickering street lamps. As the investigators ran, they reached a small, weather-beaten bridge that spanned a narrow river. Their pursuers were mere steps behind, their cold breath and ethereal hands almost within reach. With hearts pounding and terror in their eyes, the investigators reached the middle of the bridge, realizing that there was no turning back. Suddenly, a deafening crack of thunder split the sky, and a bolt of lightning struck the bridge's iron railing. The ground quaked beneath them, and the investigators watched in astonishment as a blinding surge of energy enveloped the bridge. In an instant, the malevolent spirits were forced back by the powerful force of the lightning strike, their wails echoing into the night. The bridge itself began to glow with an eerie, otherworldly light, and the investigators felt an overwhelming surge of energy coursing through them. With a final burst of energy, the bridge collapsed, taking the malevolent spirits with it, plunging them into the churning waters below. The investigators, miraculously unharmed, watched as the spirits were swept away by the river's current, their anguished cries fading into the distance. The storm subsided, and the town was left in an eerie silence. The curse of Wraithhaven Hospital had finally been broken, and the malevolent spirits had been banished from the town forever. The investigators, exhausted but victorious, realized that they had unwittingly become the catalyst for the town's salvation. From that day forward, the town slowly began to heal. Its residents returned to the streets, and the sense of dread that had plagued the community for so long began to lift. Wraithhaven Hospital remained a desolate ruin, but it no longer held the power to bind the living to its cursed past. The investigators, forever marked by their harrowing encounter, left the town with a renewed appreciation for the supernatural forces that exist in the world. They had faced true horror and emerged as heroes, vanquishing the malevolence that had held the town captive for so long. As they drove away, they couldn't help but wonder if there were other places like Wraithhaven, where the line between the living and the dead blurred, waiting for those brave enough or foolish enough to uncover their dark secrets. But for now, the town of Wraithhaven could finally rest in peace, free from the horrors that had plagued it for generations.